Hi everyone, I hope you guys are well. Sorry for going a little MIA on you there. I just needed a little mental health break. I'm sure you guys understand. But anyway, in today's video, I'm going to be discussing your hot takes, your unpopular fashion opinions. I asked you guys over on Instagram to share yours with me. Thank you so much for those of you who submitted. I have about 30 on this list. Some of them are the same or similar, so I just lumped them together. At the end, I'll also be sharing my hot takes. Because you showed me yours, I gotta show you mine, obviously. Alright, let's get right into it. I lumped the first two submissions together because they kind of support each other in a way. The first person said, too much layering is uncomfy and feels like too much fabric is wedged in all of my bendy bits. I'm 100% with you. I also find too much layering to be very uncomfy, overstimulating, but also this is coming from someone who feels like rings and jewelry is a little bit too much. As soon as I walk in the door, the rings are off of my fingers. I don't know how people are walking around with like 10 layers. This is as much layering as I can do normally. I got a little bun up, then a tee on top, little cardigan. As we know, people go pretty crazy with it. They'll layer like 3 skirts together, like 4 tops, not to mention all the accessories and like all their fingers have rings. Not for me, I just can't do it. It's just too much. And similarly, the next submission says, in wearing versus styling videos, the wearing almost always looks better. I feel the same. There are exceptions, of course, when people don't go too crazy with the layering. I think it still works. But sometimes I think what happens is that people overthink it. So they start to add on unnecessary layers, they over accessorize, and just like, I don't know, the outfit and accessories start spraying the person instead of the other way around. It feels a little too try hard, if you get what I'm saying. The next two submissions also support each other. The first being, I don't like big logos / brands on clothes, even designer stuff. And the next one says, anything Gucci, LOL. I thought I would pop this other submission in there because it's all relevant to each other. Just because a person wears high-end brands doesn't mean they have good style. I agree with all of these submissions. In my opinion, too many logos ends up looking tacky. I've always preferred something with a subtle logo. I don't know, there's something more cool about like, if you know, you know, type vibe instead of just being like in your face about it. I pinned some examples off the Gucci runway and I much prefer everything without a logo. For instance, I hate this look because it just has too many logos. In comparison, they have this other look that's similar, looks a lot more chic. Even this one with like the Gucci belt, I'll forgive because it's very subtle. Let's take a moment for this stunning dress. No logos in sight, still looks beautiful. And if you're into fashion, I'm sure you could tell that it's Gucci regardless. And just to emphasize the last submission, which was that a person who wears high-end brands doesn't mean they have good style. I've always felt this way. We just have to look to Adam Sandler, for example. Damn, I don't know. I don't think a lot about rich people, so I don't have a lot of great examples, but we know they're out there. Sometimes the richest people have the tackiest, corniest style. I think a big testament to someone that has good style is that they can dress well, even on a budget. So that could be shopping mostly thrifted and secondhand and still making it work. I look up to that more than people who have like money to blow or whatever. Not to say that people with money don't have style, because like, you know, there's exceptions to everything. I got 2 submissions for Crocs. The first one says, Crocs are ugly, even the platform ones. And the next one says, Crocs are so hideous and cheap. They're grotesque and people only like them because they're susceptible to trends and marketing. Yeah, dude, I've been a Croc hater since day one. Never going to wear them. Even if I get them for free, I wouldn't wear them. And I understand why people like them. They're super comfortable, but to me, they'll always be an outfit ruiner. If the vibe is comfy, casual, you're a nurse going to work, or I don't know, you're walking a lot or whatever, like I get it, right? But if you have on this like beautiful put together outfit and then you top it off with Crocs, it's a no for me. It's almost like wearing an Apple Watch with like fancy wear or whatever. I especially hate the platform Crocs and also like the alternative leaning Crocs they give Shein and Temu to me. Just a no. No offense if you like Crocs. The next submission says, I miss jeggings and how comfortable they were. I'm not gonna lie, they were hella comfy. I specifically love the BDG Urban Outfitters high-waisted skinny jeggings. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I feel like all the Tumblr girlies, that was like the gene. I don't think I could go back to them. They just look too outdated. I don't feel like they're very flattering. What's flattering is very subjective, and if you don't care about looking flattering, that's fine, but I do personally. I used to feel ashamed saying that, but not anymore. Like, I'm just being truthful. I like to feel good in my clothing. I don't like to feel self-conscious. Do you, girl? If you want to wear jeggings, I'm sure they're super cheap secondhand online. There's a way that you can make them work and make them look updated. The next submission says, new tan sheer tights are out of fashion. Honestly, I didn't know they were out of fashion. I thought this was just like a practical thing that people wore when they needed it. They're probably nice for days that you don't feel like shaving or you're feeling a little self-conscious. You want your legs to appear a little bit more smooth and even. However, I feel like they're only practical in mild weather, so that could be spring or fall time. I see artists wear these a lot, like the more shiny ones though, like Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift wear these a lot when they're performing. I think they look cute. Let me know about this one, guys. Do you guys feel like it's out of fashion to wear sheer tights? I'm curious. Next hot take says, I don't understand the appeal of bloomers as pants. Okay, your take is so valid. I kind of felt the same a little bit in the beginning, but I just think they're super whimsy. They're definitely not timeless. I feel like we're gonna look back and be like, ew, and cringe a little bit. I haven't found a pair that I'm in love with, so that's why you don't see me wearing bloomers. I know I had some for Halloween when I was a clown, and they look cute with my costume, but I don't necessarily feel like they were cute enough to wear out with like an outfit or whatever. And they have blood on. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Anyway, next. The next submission says, I don't like real tree camo at all. If you watch my videos, you know that I feel the exact same. I've said before that it gives Republican, it gives red state. I prefer a more like classic camo or like military camo in a very like Y2K see you next Tuesday way. I'll never be a person who wears real tree camo, just not for me. And I totally get it in like an Ethel Kane sort of vibe, sort of situation. I feel like a lot of Midwestern girlies like their real tree camo and they wear it with like pink bows or whatever. And I get it, I love a good juxtaposition. I feel like I said that super funny. You get what I mean. Anyway, just not for me, so I'm with you. The next submission says, shoes like Jordans and Yeezys are so ugly, I can never date a sneakerhead. I'm with you, girl. I can never be with a sneakerhead either. Like, what do you mean? You're gonna drop a ban on some shoes that are gonna sit in your closet possibly more than you're gonna wear them out. No, thank you. I don't hate Jordan Dunks as much as like the other styles, but Yeezys, I've always been a hater of Yeezys. Why anyone would support that brand in 2025 is absolutely crazy. The next submission says, activewear should only be worn during exercise or outdoor activities. It ain't cute. I feel a bit indifferent about this one. A lot of people don't care about looking stylish and care more about comfort, so I get it from that perspective. However, I will say some activewear is kind of cute, especially like tennis dresses and tennis skirts, so I could see why people would kind of like lean into that aesthetic even if they're not working out or being active. I don't know, I'm really into a tennis dress with like a thick headband, some cute sneakers, going to lunch and pretending like you're going to tennis practice afterward. Also, tennis is expensive. Isn't it an expensive hobby or am I tripping? I guess it can be inexpensive if you just like go to the park with a rack or something. Racket? That's what I meant. The next submission says, I think ankle socks should be banned, and I agree with this one. I will always prefer a like scrunchy sock over a ankle sock. I used to wear them obviously like the 2010s or whatever when like the low profile bands were a thing. Maybe because I like to follow trends, I find them less visually appealing, and maybe if they come back into fashion, I think I'll hate them less, which is like so annoying, but like I feel like a lot of us do this or feel this way. The next submission says, grandpa fashion is goated. I don't think this is a hot take. I feel like a lot of people feel this way. Older folks, they've had time to hone in their style. A lot of their pieces they've had for years. I feel like a lot of men's fashion is inspired by grandpa style. I mean, that's like literally Tyler, the creator style. He looks like a cool grandpa. For example, like a huge brand is ALD. They've built their whole brand and aesthetic around grandpa style. I feel like you can't go wrong. It's so classic. You got the loafers, the cardigans, the little like, what are those called? I can't remember the little hats. I'll put an example. The next submission says, no matter how many times I see them, I don't think the Margiela tabis are cute. I totally get you, girl. I felt the same in the beginning. I thought they were a little silly, a little funny looking. To be fair though, I like borderline ugly things, and I feel like they're kind of a little ugly. I love their hoof-like appearance. I think it's super whimsy. It elevates any outfit. You could have just like a black on black outfit and then your little tabis, and you just look extra fashionable and cool. The next submission reads, pajamas is pajamas again. I'll see amazing makeup in PJs. Like, girl, full send please, show your power. Personally, I like my makeup to match the vibe of an outfit, so I'm not gonna have like full beat glam and then wear PJs. I agree with you, like why? Like, why bother? You know what I mean? Because if you have enough energy to do a full beat, I think you have enough energy to put on like a quick casual little outfit to match the whole vibe. So I'm with you on this one. Is it a hot take? I feel like most fashion people would agree with this. The next submission reads, Avril Lavigne's skater boy clothing era still has a chokehold on me. Same. I still visualize her when getting ready sometimes, especially when I wear like my brown dickies, a tube sock, any sort of like cut off tank top. Even though I will say she took a lot of that style from like skater aesthetic and like cholo aesthetic, now looking back on it. But anyway, I think it's still relevant to this day. I don't know if this is necessarily a hot take, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Some people might feel like her style is a little outdated, but I disagree. Next submission says, I'm not ready for jorts to go back out of fashion. Oof, I can see why this one's a hot take. A lot of people hate jorts, and then a lot of people love jorts. To you, I say, if you don't want them to go out of style, just keep wearing them. And even if they are out of style and you love them, keep wearing them regardless. I think it's a lot cooler than just going with the herd. I'm actually really jealous of people who could pull off jorts. I think they look really cool, except there's a limit though. I don't like jorts that are like up to your ankle. I feel like those look stupid. There has to be a middle ground. The next submission says, not a big fan of low core or barrel jeans. I actually got 2 submissions for barrel jeans, so people definitely hate them. I've been a hater of both since day one. I've always felt like plaquette core feels a little like, I don't know, manufactured, a little too try hard, very like TikTok fashion final boss. I forget that video of the girl. She's wearing like loquette core to a T and it doesn't look good. It's giving like 2020 swirl print, that same type of vibe. And I get it, they're kind of like playing with juxtaposition, but like, I don't know, I just don't like it. I don't know what it is. It's probably just like a person. That's why it's a hot take, girl. Keep forgetting what this video is about. I don't have much left to say about barrel jeans, except I think they're ugly. I don't think I'll change my mind. I feel like just like bloomers, they are not timeless. We're gonna look back at them and be like, ew, what was I thinking? The next submission states, I never disliked skinny jeans, hashtag elder emo. I feel like a lot of people are with you, especially millennials who never let go of their skinny jeans and will fight to the death to keep wearing their skinny jeans. Not me though. I love playing with different silhouettes. Anyway, I personally still like them in a very like scene emo style. I'm seeing a lot of young kids like Gen Z play with this style, and like you have to have the skinny jeans in order to have like the scene aesthetic or like emo aesthetic. I think they look really cool. I still despise skinny jeans in a Christian autumn sort of way, and I feel like I always have. Please let that aesthetic die, please. Next submission says, fashion is judged more on the bodies it's on and less in the actual garments. I hate this so much, but it is true. I even do this and I'm trying to unlearn it. I'll see the most basic outfit on like Bella Hadid or like some other model, and I'm like, oh my god, she ate. Like, and it's like a t-shirt and jeans. I don't know if it's something that we'll ever unlearn as a society, but yeah. The next submission says, gold jewelry is inferior to silver. I completely disagree with this one. I feel like jewelry shades or whatever is very subjective. I feel like people are drawn to whatever's most flattering to their skin tone or undertone, whatever it may be. I also think it's cool people who don't care just wear whatever they like, or even mix the two. So yeah, definitely a hot take. The next submission says, overconsumption and thrifting. I'm with you on this one. I feel like it's something that's definitely normalized and minimized in comparison to overconsuming in other ways, like fast fashion shopping, overconsuming makeup, for instance, that a lot of people seem to struggle with. Although I feel like things are getting a little bit better. Even people on the like thrifty side of content creation have reduced their consumption when it comes to thrifting. I personally have. I used to thrift way more than I do now, and I feel like that's kind of where we're going toward, or as far as people in society who thrift. Also, we're like on the verge of a recession, so it would make sense that people would consume less in general. The next submission reads, people who go to the thrift store to flip everything for 5 times the price. I think get your bag, but there is a limit. Don't try to sell like a Forever 21 jacket from 2011 for $300. Oftentimes a pleather Forever 21 jacket. I know the quality used to be better, but like, girl, get real. Come on now. The next submission I thought was pretty interesting, and they said, you'll always go back to dressing how you did as a teen, just maybe more grown up. I feel like this is true for some people, not for all. It's personally true for myself. I've been dressing some sort of like all adjacent way since I was 12 years old, and got my first like Avril Lavigne CD and like Warped Tour CD. Anyway, I definitely feel like I still have elements of the style that I did when I was like a teenager. I do level it up now. So for instance, my favorite combo are wearing like trousers with like a graphic band tee and I don't know, whatever Oh my gosh. I guess I haven't evolved that much then. Anyway, I also have friends that I grew up with that were alternative, and now you would consider them like normies or whatever, just like not caring about fashion as much. It's more about like the media they still interact with, like they'll still listen to similar music from time to time, but they haven't kept up with that same style. So really it depends. The next submission reads, gatekeeping isn't necessarily bad, inspiration over copying, people aren't being creative enough. I think this was part of my ins for 2025. I think I wrote inspiration over replication or something like that. I am agreeing with the sentiment more and more as the time goes by. I don't like to be super guarded about the things that I like or I wear. Most of the time I'm very open and transparent if people ask, but I can't lie and say that it doesn't feel nice to have things that are one of a kind, or at least more rare, like things that I pick up at the thrift store or something like that, and when someone asks like, where'd you get that, and I'm just like, well, I can't really, like you might be able to find it but might not online. And I feel like people should chase that more, you know, like instead of just being like, where'd you get this, and then like immediately going online and like purchasing it for themselves. I feel like they should make an effort and look for something similar. This is definitely a very nuanced topic. Next submission says, socks with sandals is the highest form of footwear known to humans, and to that I say no. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I think Crocs is even more distasteful than socks and sandals. I feel like socks and sandals can work sometimes. I've done it, so I can't judge too harshly. Next take is, I don't really get the hype of bows on everything, lol, maybe it's just me. And I just wrote, it's overkill. And just like everything else that fast fashion kills, they have absolutely killed bows. They have overdone it to death. I feel like we don't need to be putting a bow on every single item of clothing or accessory. Like, it's just too much. We need to just pull back. So I'm with you. And I feel like a lot of people would probably agree with this take. Not to say that I don't like bows at all. It's just, we don't need them on everything. That's just it. This last submission was written by my little sister, who has great style and is not afraid to express herself. Anywho, she wrote, the best historical fashion decade was the 1870s. Kind of irrelevant, but nobody talks about those 10 years enough. I had to look into this one a lot more because I just wasn't sure what the markers were of this like period of fashion. And Google says the early 1870s were categorized by bustles, square necklines, sleeves that flare at the wrist, jacket style bodices, the appearance of aprons, asymmetry, and flounces and frills and ruffles. When I read this, immediately what came to my mind was Vivienne Westwood. I feel like she definitely takes inspiration from this era. I'm with you, girly. It definitely is not a decade that a lot of people are walking around wearing or talking about, and I think it's beautiful. The thing is though, I feel like this style is very like extravagant and grand, and a lot of us aren't like going to tea parties or balls, you know, every weekend or whatever. I'll be disappointed, but I only have one hot take. I have a lot of opinions, but I feel like the majority of the population would agree with those opinions. And I really wanted to have an actual hot take, and I wrote, a crop tee with giant balloon pants looks so goofy, and I don't understand why every Depop reseller man is wearing the same silhouette. It's just like copy paste, copy paste. I'm no one to judge, but it's just something that I've observed. I feel like an in-between silhouette is always more fashionable, more timeless than something that's like just way too big on a person. So a trouser that's like baggy, but not like a balloon trouser that's like swimming on you. Paired with like a crop top, I think that looks cooler. We have come to the end of the hot takes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please share your opinions in the comments. I want to know if you agree with these hot takes, disagree with these hot takes. I want to know your personal hot takes. Don't be shy. I always respond. I love talking to you guys in the comments. Hope that you guys have a lovely week, and subscribe if you haven't already, please. I'll see you on my next one. Bye.